Do the American people need Coca-Cola to survive? What's nutritional about Coca-Cola?
I am not a nutritionist. I am a food security expert.
Does General Mills fund your organization?
I don't have access to that information.
I do. It's right here. They do fund your organization. Yes, and they're profiting off of your advocacy.
America, your food stamp dollars bought Coca-Cola. That is obviously not a talking point. That is USDA data. Soft drinks are the #1 purchase with SNAP benefits in this country. 1 in every 5 food stamp dollars on the government's tab every single year. And the woman in that hearing, paid to defend those programs, could not say out loud whether the people need Coca-Cola to survive or not, because the company that makes the stuff she wouldn't condemn funds her organization. But the soda is actually the smallest part of the story. The USDA's own Inspector General just told Congress under oath that the data flagged $3 billion in potential fraud. Dead people collecting benefits, fake Social Security numbers, EBT cards being drained at cash registered for a fraction of the value. And that very same week that the numbers dropped, 21 states filed a lawsuit to make sure that nobody can do anything about it. Who exactly is protecting $3 billion in food stamp fraud? And why would they sue anybody trying to figure it out?
I was raised in abject rural poverty by a single mother, and we had food stamps when it was a stamp that went on a card and had government cheese and subsidized lunches and all that stuff. Then every single dollar that we allocate for a hungry child needs to go to a hungry child.
What is up, guys? Tyson DeLaCruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. Let me start simple. SNAP stands for Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. That is the official name for food stamps. It is a $100 billion program every single year. That is more money than most countries spend on their entire military. Just put that in perspective. Going into one program in the United States, 44 million Americans use it. That is more people than the entire state of California. The Trump administration has been running a crackdown on the fraud since January 2025. Here are the numbers. 900 arrests, 120 convictions, $132 million put back. Those aren't court records, not estimates, not projections. Now at the hearing on June 25th, 2026, Brooke Rollins runs the USDA. She runs SNAP. Watch what Vice President J.D. Vance's fraud task force found when they went looking inside.
VP J.D. Vance's fraud force found almost 200,000 dead people. Together with the vice president's task force to eliminate fraud, this ends now.
200,000 people, dead people getting food stamps. I need you to sit with that sentence for a minute. Not people who might be dead, not people who moved away, people that the government confirmed that are deceased, names and Social Security in the death registry. Benefits still going to their address every single month. A dead person can't swipe a debit card. A living person standing at their mailbox absolutely can. And the Inspector General, the government's own fraud watchdog, went to Congress this same week and said the full picture is much, much bigger than 200,000 dead people. I'm going to pull up his sworn testimony right now. USDA Inspector General John Walk, June 25th, 2026, under oath. Pop that up on screen so everybody can see it. The data matched flags approximately $3 billion in potential fraud, including 186,000 deceased individuals still enrolled in the program. Approximately 442,000 enrollments linked to fraudulent Social Security numbers and a growing vector of EBT card skimming operations. Guys, I want to be exact with one word in that. The word flagged. That means the computer looked at the data and said, hey, something is wrong here. We're going to flag it. It doesn't mean that every single case has been fully investigated yet, but 900 people have already been arrested from that list. 120 are already convicted. When the machine says flagged, I'm thinking that the machine is right. Let me put this name on the screen because the names make that word fraud almost impossible to shrug off. And honestly, it's impossible to shrug off nowadays anyways. Antonio Bonner. I think that's how you say it. Antonio Bonner, 74 years old, Boston, Massachusetts. He owned a store called Hasuela's Variety Store. We covered it before, but just to give you a recap, the store is 150 square feet. You with me? I'm going to put the DOJ press release on the screen. This is from justice.gov, the day that he was formally charged. Let's pop it up on the screen. Specifically, Bonner's monthly SNAP redemptions regularly exceeded $100,000, with many months exceeding $300,000. At times, $500,000, guys. By comparison, one full-service supermarket like a Kroger in the same area redeems approximately $82,000 per month in SNAP benefits. 6 times more food stamp volume than a regular grocery store, a real supermarket. From a store the size that you parked your car in to watch this video and like the video.
Federal prosecutors charged 2 Haitian-American men, Antonio Bonner, 74, and Saul Alisma, 21, with orchestrating a multi-million-dollar SNAP fraud scheme through 2 tiny Mattapan convenience stores on Blue Hill Avenue. Monthly totals spiking to $300,000, $540,000. Figures investigators deem impossible for storefronts stocked mainly with rice, beans, and pasta.
Here is Bonner's actual business model, and I'm going to explain it super simple because it is very simple. Step 1, a SNAP recipient walks in. Step 2, Bonner takes the EBT card. Step 3, he swipes it for a large, big amount. Step 4, he hands the person back the cash, less than what the card is actually worth. Step 5, he pockets the difference. Step 6, the government gets billed for groceries that never even existed. Not an accident, not a system glitch, not a whoops, I scanned it too many times, a deliberate choice made daily for 4 years from a parking spot on Blue Hill Avenue. And here's the part that made the prosecutor's eyebrows raise higher than Nancy Pelosi's. Additionally, Hasuela's variety store sold many pack meals. We talked about this. A donated food product manufactured by the nonprofit Feed My Starving Children. These were meals paid for entirely by charitable donations intended for shipment and distribution to food insecure children overseas and never were authorized for retail resale. Bonner sold donated Manny-Pack meals in his store for approximately $8 per pack, profiting from the food intended for humanitarian aid. He was trafficking food stamps from a very small store and selling food that was meant to be donated to starving children in other countries out of a cardboard box in that same small convenience store. He pleaded guilty. Sentencing is on July 6, 2026. The government is seizing nearly $400,000 from his accounts. The final line of that DOJ press conference tells you everything, and I'm going to read it exactly. Go ahead and pop on the screen here. Jasula's variety store carried little legitimate food inventory and generated minimal lawful revenue. Therefore, Bonner relied almost entirely on USDA-funded SNAP redemptions as his source of income. SNAP benefits, my friend, was his job, his entire income from a program designed to help poor people. The woman at that hearing defended the program. Gina Planto-Nino, the director of policy at Food Research and Action Center. It sounds really big. She was not just randomly defending soda. She could not say Coca-Cola is unhealthy. She deflected every single time the direct question was asked by Congressman Gill. And Gill switched gears. He didn't ask about nutrition. He asked about money. Watch this. In the same hearing, June 25th, 2026, pay attention to her face when he drops the paperwork.
Does General Mills fund your organization?
I don't have access to that information.
I do. It's right here. They do fund your organization. Yes, and they're profiting off of your advocacy. I think most people think that's a conflict of interest. I know you don't want to answer.
Guys, let me explain what just happened in that hearing room. I'm going to explain it step by step here. You ready? General Mills makes Cocoa Puffs. They also make Lucky Charms. They also make Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Hands down, probably one of the best cereals. Betty Crocker, Pillsbury, Haagen-Dazs, and about 100 other products that are currently being purchased by SNAP benefits. Every single year, SNAP recipients spend approximately $7 billion on soft drinks alone through the program. General Mills obviously doesn't want that to change, because if SNAP can only buy real food, like actual food that gives you nutrition, General Mills loses guaranteed $7 billion in revenue streams funded by the federal government. So General Mills Fund, FRAC, F-R-A-C, the Food Research and Action Center, the group that sends its director to Congress to explain why they should not restrict SNAP purchases. Trust me, you guys, a woman funded by a company that profits from SNAP junk food sat in front of Congress and explained why SNAP junk food should not be restricted. And when the paperwork proving the funding was sitting on that table, she claimed not to know about it. Now, guys, are you ready for this? Let me show you where the story goes from a bad hearing to an active cover-up. USDA told every state, give us your SNAP recipient data. We want to cross-check and we want to go through the rolls. Find the dead people, find fake social security numbers, and just clean up the list. 29 states said yes. Here's the other data. 21 states said no. Then you wouldn't believe it. They sued. I need to be precise what the judge did for YouTube purposes and because the media is framing it wrong. The judge blocked the funding cutoff, meaning the states could not lose their SNAP funding yet. The ruling involved bigger policy conditions tangled into the USDA's demand. That is the legal fight that is actually still playing out right now. But here is what is not a legal fight. 21 states choosing on their own to refuse to hand off the data to the Inspector General. That happened before the ruling. That was a choice made by state houses, not by judges. Then the IG said something at the hearing that almost nobody covered. California, New York, Illinois, and Michigan have yet to give us the data so that we can look at their issues in their states. I have ordered a subpoena, which is very unusual that a state agency would require an IG to issue a subpoena for that type of information or that kind of information. We have issued 4 subpoenas to those states. We are still waiting. Legal subpoenas from the government's own watchdog and the answer from 4 of the biggest states in the country. They still said no. Now, here's the number that makes that choice look very, very intentional. The states that cooperated got audited first. Ohio handed over their data, and here's what happened. We finished the report in Ohio and found $13.3 million in anomalies just from that one state. Ohio has 12 million people. California has 39 million people. If Ohio cooperated and had $13 million in problems, what does California possibly have? My guess is probably a lot. When you refuse a legal subpoena from your own government's watchdog, you're not afraid that they will find nothing.
All these outfits exist so that you can never shrink it. As soon as you try to a little bit, they say, no, but what about this? But the truth is, these guys are trying to fight to make sure the deep state never shrinks, one lawsuit at a time, and this is part of that.
You have states that don't want to hand over their data. You have adversary groups funding the food companies that profit from unrestricted SNAP purchases. You have law centers whose entire budget depends on welfare systems staying exactly intact and staying exactly the way that it is. None of them are poor. None of them are food insecure. The groups lobbying hardest to keep Coca-Cola in the SNAP program are not run by people who use SNAP. They are run by people in conference rooms making decisions about how other people's tax dollars should be spent on Coca-Cola and on soda. And when the USDA tried to use its funding authority to force compliance, they found a lawyer in 3 days. I want you to watch what gets protected when money gets tight and watch what gets cut. The IG testified to one more number at that particular hearing, and I'm putting it up on the screen. This is separate from the $3 billion that was flagged in the data match. This is a completely different number. $2.2 billion in a year in improper payments from just one program. Rep. Van Orden's single mother needed food stamps to eat. That is what the program is built for. The program now runs at a 10.9% improper payment rate. The states know exactly how bad their piece of it is. Those are the ones that are fighting the subpoenas. The honest single mother and the fraud machine are using the exact same system. That is the whole problem in one sentence. America, while Nina Planto was at that hearing saying she couldn't answer whether soda should be covered or not, Texas was already past that conversation. On April 1st, 2026, Texas became the first state in the country to ban junk food from SNAP purchases. Soda, candy, sugary drinks removed from the Lone Star card entirely. $1.5 billion in one state with one policy change. A federal judge then blocked similar restrictions in more than 20 other states because the lawsuit argued that USDA did not follow the correct legal process to change what counts as quote unquote eligible food. So right now, Texas is moving forward. 20 other states are blocked in court, and 4 states are sitting on IG subpoenas that they still haven't answered. Bonner's store, the parking lot spot, was running from 2021 until December 2025. That's 4 years. SNAP never flagged the 300,000 to 500,000 monthly redemptions from 150 square foot storefront. Not once. The system processes transactions the same way it processes a register at a real grocery store. 4 years, millions and millions of dollars. Children's charity food sold at $8 a pack. And the system said, look, it's fine. That is why the IG called it pay and chase. That's the whole problem. The check goes out, you chase the criminals later. Bonner, he had a 4-year head start. Let me know what you think about this. Drop it down in the comment section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe, and as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.